Have you ever had a moment that completely shattered who you thought you were? Tonight's story is about the night I stopped being the good girl and discovered a side of myself I never knew existed. Between the neon lights of Miami, the pulsing music at Club Eclipse, and 3 people who changed everything, my solo dance turned into something far more captivating. This story is about breaking free, letting go, and realizing that sometimes the best nights begin with saying yes instead of no. If you're ready to push past your comfort zone and unleash your wild side, stick around, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into a night that changed everything. The bass at Club Eclipse wasn't just music. It was a living force, vibrating through the polished wooden floor, syncing with my heartbeat. I stood center stage, moving with a confidence I'd practiced 1,000 times. The lights pink, gold. Electric blue cast wild shadows over the crowd below, their faces a blur of excitement. The guys at the tables watched with hungry smiles, their eyes locked on me, drinks forgotten in their hands. Up there, I wasn't just Sophia. I was an untouchable goddess, free and fierce, commanding the room. But that was the stage version of me. Off stage, I was the girl who blushed if someone held her gaze too long, who avoided eye contact on the subway, and who had perfected the art of saying thanks, but no thanks to every date. It wasn't about disliking guys or dating. I just didn't trust myself around them, or maybe I didn't trust them. Saying no was my shield, my safety net in a world that felt too unpredictable. Girl, you killed it tonight. Emma's voice sliced through my thoughts as I stepped off the stage, my heels clicking on the sleek floor. She tossed me a water bottle, her grin wide enough to light up Miami's Ocean Drive. Before I could dodge, she pulled me into one of her signature bear hugs, her energy radiating like the neon signs outside. "Thanks," I said, my voice barely audible over the thumping music. Emma and I were opposites in every way. She thrived on attention, laughed like tomorrow was a myth, and always knew exactly what she wanted. Her confidence was magnetic, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little jealous of how effortlessly she owned every room. She elbowed me, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Don't look now. But there are 2 absolute stunners at the bar who can't stop staring at you." I couldn't help it, I looked. And wow, were they striking? One had sharp features, dark hair falling just over his eyes, and a smile that screamed trouble, like he knew exactly how to break every rule. The other was built like a dream, broad shoulders filling out his shirt, with kind eyes and a quiet confidence that hit harder than any pickup line. "Yeah, no," I said, shaking my head so fast I probably looked like a bobblehead. "Come on. Sophia. Seriously." Emma threw her hands up, her bracelets jangling. "I already talked to them. They're normal guys, not creeps. It's one night, what's the worst that could happen?" My stomach flipped, my mind racing with worst-case scenarios, each more ridiculous than the last. But beneath the panic, I felt something else: exhaustion. I was tired of being the scared girl, always armed with a no, always hiding behind my comfort zone. My life had become a loop work: dance, home, repeat. Predictable, boring, lonely. "I don't know." "Emma," I said, my voice wavering, betraying my nerves. "Please," she said, hitting me with that trademark look, half plea, half challenge that I could never resist. "Do it for me. Just this once." I sighed, feeling the familiar no rising in my throat. But then I pictured my quiet apartment. The same takeout menu, the same Netflix queue. Maybe Emma was right. Maybe it was time to shake things up. "Fine," I said, the words slipping out like someone else was speaking. But just this once. The Miami night air hit differently as we left Club Eclipse. Ocean Drive glowed with gold and silver neon, the palm trees swaying gently under the stars. We piled into a cab, the leather seats cool against my skin. I was squished next to Noah, the guy with the sharp features, while Emma claimed her spot beside his friend. Liam. Noah flashed me a smile that made my heart skip, his teeth gleaming against his tanned skin, a contrast to the city lights flashing by. "You're way quieter than I thought you'd be," he teased, his voice soft but playful. I managed an awkward smile, my cheeks burning. "Yeah, I'm kind of new to this." "First time," he nodded, his eyes kind, not pushing, no pressure. "Sophia, we're just hanging out." I appreciated that more than he knew. By the time we reached their place, my nerves had started to settle. Their apartment in South Beach was unreal sleek, modern, with floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Atlantic Ocean, its waves glinting under the moonlight. The living room was all clean lines, white leather furniture, and a glass coffee table that reflected the city's glow. Emma and Liam made themselves at home, popping open a bottle of wine and queuing up a playlist of smooth R&B that filled the space with a sultry vibe. I lingered by the window, staring at the ocean, feeling like I was watching someone else's life unfold. "You okay?" Noah's voice was low, concerned, as he appeared beside me, his reflection faint in the glass. "Totally," I said too quickly to be convincing, my fingers tightening around my wine glass. He smiled, his eyes warm and steady. "We only do what you're comfortable with. Promise." And I believed him. That's when things started to shift. The wine was loosening me up, but my nerves still buzzed like static. The room felt alive, the warmth of bodies, the mix of Emma's floral perfume, Noah's cedar cologne, and Liam's subtle aftershave blending into something intoxicating. The music wrapped us in a bubble where the usual rules didn't apply. I couldn't tell who moved first. Maybe Noah, maybe Emma, but when his lips brushed mine, my brain short-circuited. His kiss was gentle, like he was asking permission, sending a jolt down my spine. My hands hovered over his shoulders, unsure, but his touch was steady, grounding me as my heart raced. Emma's laugh broke through, light and infectious, like a spark in the dark. "Girl, relax," she whispered, her breath warm against my ear. Her hand found mine, our fingers tangling, and before I could think, she kissed me. Her kiss was bold, playful, daring me to let go. My pulse surged, my breath catching as her fingers grazed my jaw, leaving a trail of electricity. Noah's hand tightened on my waist, keeping me steady as my knees threatened to give out. For the first time, I didn't run. Every nerve in my body came alive, like I'd been asleep until that moment. Emma pulled back, her laugh soft against my lips, her eyes gleaming with mischief. "See," she said, her thumb brushing my cheek. "You're a natural." Liam stepped closer, his movements careful, testing. I leaned in, surprising myself. His hands settled on my hips, guiding me closer. His kiss was slow, deliberate, like he had all the time in the world. The room spun, not from the wine, but from the intensity of it all. Every detail burned into my memory. Emma's hand on my shoulder, Liam's fingers tracing the small of my back, Noah's warm breath on my neck as he watched, waiting. It wasn't just about the touches. It was the way they layered, blending into a rush of sensation that drowned out everything else. Noah's lips grazed my collarbone, barely touching, but igniting my skin. Liam's thumb drew slow circles on my waist, sending warmth spreading through me. Emma's fingers wove through my hair, her laugh anchoring me as my mind spun. It was chaos, but the kind you crave. Every time I thought I had a handle on it, Noah's lips on my jaw, Emma's hand trailing down my arm, something new pulled me under. Emma kissed me again, more confident, and I kissed back, tasting wine and the electric thrill of the moment. Liam's hand found mine, our fingers lacing together, his quiet intensity a steady anchor. When he leaned in, whispering something too soft to catch, his voice sent shivers down my spine. Time dissolved. We were all movement and sound, laughing, whispering, sighing in sync. Noah pulled me close, his hands sure and knowing, making me feel both safe and untamed. Emma was behind me, her breath teasing my neck, her hands guiding mine as she smiled with pure satisfaction. The lines blurred. I couldn't track who was where. One moment, Noah held my face like I was fragile, kissing me until I couldn't breathe. Then Emma pulled me into her world of laughter and exploration, her eyes flashing with an "I told you so" spark. Liam stepped in, his hands on my shoulders melting my tension, his kisses warm and grounding, like a safe harbour in the storm. We collapsed onto the massive white leather couch, tangled together, catching our breath. Emma stretched out beside me, her head on my shoulder, humming a tune I didn't recognize, her hair spilling over my arm. Noah was next to me, his arm brushing mine, his warmth a quiet comfort. Liam sat at the edge, his subtle smile saying more than words could. "Well," Emma said, her grin breaking the silence, "that was not your average movie night." I laughed, a shaky, breathless sound that felt more real than anything I'd felt in weeks. "Definitely not." Noah turned to me, his eyes soft with concern. "You hanging in there?" "Yeah," I whispered, my voice steadier now. "I really am." Emma smirked, her fingers finding mine again. "Told you letting loose would be worth it." I met her gaze, a smile spreading across my face that I couldn't stop. "Maybe you're right," I said, still stunned by the night. The room fell quiet, but it was the good kind of quiet, the kind that wraps you in warmth. I sank into the moment, not just from the lingering touches or the exhaustion, but from the realization that I'd let go of the control freak inside me. Instead of falling apart, I'd found something incredible, a version of myself I didn't know existed. The next morning, I woke up in my own bed, the Miami sun streaming through my apartment window. The night felt like a dream, but the faint ache in my muscles and the memory of their touches grounded it in reality. I sat on my balcony, sipping coffee, watching the waves crash along South Beach. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the need to plan every moment of my day. I thought about calling Emma to talk about it, but I wasn't ready yet. I needed to sit with this new version of myself, to understand what it meant to say yes instead of no. Over the next few weeks, I noticed changes. At work, I spoke up in meetings, my voice steady where it used to waver. I stopped dodging eye contact with strangers on the street. I even said yes to a coffee date with a co-worker, something I would have brushed off before. Each small step felt like a nod to that night, a reminder that I could be bold, that I could take risks and come out stronger. One evening, I ran into Emma at a cafe near Lincoln Road. She was her usual radiant self, her laugh echoing across the patio as she waved me over. "Sophia," she called, pulling me into a hug. "You've got this glow now. That night did you good, didn't it?" I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in years. "You have no idea," I said, sitting across from her. We talked for hours, not just about that night, but about everything: dreams, fears, the future. She told me Noah and Liam had asked about me, but I wasn't ready to dive back into that intensity. Not yet. For now, I was content exploring this new Sophia, the one who wasn't afraid to live a little. That night at Club Eclipse wasn't just a wild ride, it was a turning point. It showed me that stepping out of my comfort zone didn't mean losing myself. It meant finding a part of me I'd kept locked away. I still danced at the club, still felt the bass sync with my heartbeat, but now I carried that energy off stage too. I was done hiding. I was ready to embrace whatever came next, whether it was another night of chaos or a quiet moment of my own. So, what's your story? Have you ever had a night that flipped your world upside down? Share your transformation stories in the comments below. If you're craving more tales about breaking boundaries and finding yourself in unexpected ways, like this video and subscribe. Turn on notifications, because trust me, this is just the beginning of our journey together. Until next time, keep dancing with your demons, they might just show you paradise.